Are you saying he is the traitor, or is this just some kind of red herring distracting moment? I have no idea. Tell you the truth, I was not a fan of the fact that a student could be a traitor. Not because I was wrong, but mostly because I just felt like it wouldn't make any sense. Why would a student who even got into the school be a traitor and have access to all this information? For me, that just didn't make sense. But if it is a student who is the traitor, then fine, 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 I admit I was wrong. But it's not confirmed yet. However, what we see here really makes us question what is happening. And that's the point. Yeah, this is the Boku no Hero Academia chapter 167. Got many dislikes last time, do not know why. I didn't think it was that bad. The guys are finished with their lesson, and Bakugo vents out his frustrations by, well, destroying everything else. And the kids, well, they help a little bit cleaning up. With that, well, it's uh, and it seems the brats have finally become kids. So, and strangely enough, Gang Orca shows some amount of, well, I would say understanding here. He is called one of those heroes that looks scary as a villain, but here he is actually pretty inside of our people's opinion. The teacher itself says that these kids have become docile. However, according to Gang Orca, in his opinion, they were always docile. It's just that what makes them perilous. Their attitude reflects the evolution of them adults, and in a way that is true. Kids get influenced by everything around them, and that turns them into what they are now. And as I said before, kids are not innocent, because it's very difficult to shield a child from the corruption and all the negativity of this current world. People are not watching enough cartoons, really. So uh, so Gang Oka says that unfortunately to unleash their quirks onto something without any hesitation like that is a problem of the education system. Even though we heroes we're not able to look after them in respect, quirk education is something I must turn to you, miss. As the miss has, well, as the teacher finally has gotten the courage back, she promises she will guide them the best abilities. And it's also pretty funny how the students now, well, see that some of the kids seems to worship Baku now, as they give him back his gloves and they bow to him. With that, it's all over. And even Kami has befriended the young girls who called her a hussy. And it appears that she, it appears uh, uh, it appears they also question on how Kami talked this way, because it's worth noting that Kami talks like a stereotypical valley girl. Well, or maybe not a valley girl is the right word. She talks a little bit like, those very mobile phone like type of teenage girls. The way this girl says, "Excuse me, I can understand. How can you speak? Can we talk again? If you buy a phone, then hit me up for reals." So with that, they seem to have passed this challenge. Uh, and with that, this test is over, and those four dropout students, well, not dropout, but those four failure students, at least begin to walk away. In the students, they meet up with All Might, Endeavor, and Present Mike, who and apparently it's they made up to talk about Kami, of the fact that the that as we all know, Kami was kidnapped, and no one could see that in time. Not even Kami herself knew, because, well, she's a bit of a ditz. She's a kind-hearted and sexy girl, but she's a bit of a ditz. So, now when I think about it, that sounds. She seems to have a personality not unlike that of Lenny from that cartoon Loud House, but that's just a coincidence. Maybe she's a little bit smarter than she is, but she is a little bit, well, out there. It seems that with this, the school of UA and Shinketsu will now begin to work together. And to find out our problem. So future with that, does that mean we're gonna see the other students? Who knows? And so father and son have a little talk, and they were saying that Shoto has changed a lot. But uh, first Todoroki, of course, just says, "Shut up." And then Endeavor suddenly says, "I'm proud of you, son." and that gives a mixed reaction to from Sho Todoroki. I mean, it's clearly not a face he's very proud of. The fact that Endeavor, the man who made his life hell, is the one who says that to him. However, Inasa looks at Endeavor and he remembers the time he saw Endeavor's hateful eyes, almost the same kind of eyes that Todoroki made now. But what's really strange is what Endeavor says now. So I will become a hero you can be proud of too. Your father is now here, the greatest man. So, well, what in a way. So, are you telling me this abusive dad is actually really going through character development? I did not see that coming, I really did not. Then again, I mean, I don't want to forgive him yet for everything he did, as well as the way he is always so much of a show off, but if even a guy as arrogant as Endeavor shows character development, then maybe, just maybe, there is hope. At least for the hero world, if you think about it. Also, though, this could also be a death flag, you know, after what he says he want to change. Inasa, not wanting to hold on the previous grudges, just punches himself in the face and says that I'll be cheering you on. And in the end, he did not want to become a hero like Endeavor, but he is willing to give Endeavor a chance, and that is shows some remarkable character development in people. It's happening bit by bit. Young boys and girls, occasionally they stop in their tracks, but now they look back and they are making progress. So yeah, this is seems like all those troubled characters are slowly making character development. However, the rest of this chapter is extremely strange. Well, not that strange. It's just that I'm just saying, huh? Well, it's basically Midoriya. We're switching back to Midoriya now. I mean Deku, and he is talking about what they have done. First of all, they those who went on the mission together with the big three attend Night Eye's funeral, and the internship was postponed while Centipede was taking over Night Eye's office while they wait for Togata's return. The question is if he ever will return, because Eri-chan has now woken up, but her psychological state is still unstable. It's worth noting though that they mentioned that the quirk was the reason the power of her quirk comes from her horn, which explains why the electric shock from the horn was what we saw here. But apparently it's shrinking along with her female. So now it's just the size of a lump. So what I'm trying to say is, wait. Doesn't that mean that she's losing her quirk, or the fact that the more she uses her quirk, the more the horn grows? Or is it meant to because what happens if that horn completely disappears? Isn't there a very huge chance that she won't be able to use that quirk power of hers? I mean, what if this is just a temporary quirk? I mean, a quirk that disappears if it's not frequently used, which may explain why Overhaul was so obsessed with always having to control it. Who knows? But I don't know. It seems to imply that we may not get Togata's quirk back after all. So, uh, so ectoplasm is teaching the students of everything else. So, and they all do math tests. It seems like Deku has the answer, but apparently it's wrong. So Yusaro managed to get it all. And it seems that Deku really fought and fought hard about this, but it seems he lost about it all. So it seems like Deku is very attended to his studies now. Uh, However, it's also worth noting that another reason why it has been happening is because he's feeling strange. And as lunch begins, suddenly someone just pulls a cheese into his mouth. And that's none other than Ayuma, the spark, the I cannot stop twinkling guy with the navel laser, who is saying, who suddenly begins to act very strange. The cafeteria doesn't suit his tastes and all that stuff as he's a fancy meal. And that's how this chapter really strangely ends. As Deku, I mean the future Deku, because I can presume this is the future Deku who's always narrating the story, saying something like, his behavior left a strong impact, but Aoyama was always a guy who couldn't read. However, he will soon reveal his true nature. And as the subtitles of everything else says, everyone, thank you for waiting. At last, that man makes his move. So, is this dark final page meant to finally confirm for us that Aoyama is the traitor? Seriously? It really is a student who is the traitor? Then how the hell could he access all this? In the end, though, if he really is the traitor, then I had to say it makes sense because Deku made a point. Aoyama is a character we never have read. He is a narcissist that surprisingly showed some amount of clarity because he was the first one that figured out that Ochako having a no had a crush on Deku. So I'm just saying that maybe that was a foreshadowing hint that his narcissism is just a illusion or something. I mean, this could mean a lot of things. It could it could one mean that Aoyama is gay, and this is just one of this way to give a red herring. Two, he knows Oshako's in crush and all that way, and now he decides to want to help in his own creepy way. Three, that is Toga in disguise, but given the fact that Deku says until his true self was revealed, then that's probably unlikely. Or four, the most likely, as we said before, maybe he really is the traitor. Or is he? I mean, this is a perfect red herring moment. All the signs are there. It's just that, is it really over there? Again, if it turns out that a student is the betrayer, that I'm gonna be pretty salty about that. Not because I was wrong. It's just that why would a student betray UA? In the end, though, betraying UA was the easiest way if you infiltrated it, of course. Still, though, it doesn't explain though why Aoyama was so scared back then when the villains kidnapped the others, and only later fired his naval laser when he saw an opening. Because that did not look so much of a betrayer-like standpoint from me. Unless all of that was an act, of course. But then again, why would he do that? So yeah, this leaves some very deep questions for me. I guess we'll soon find out. Because even the chapter itself saying, I think we will finally figure out why there is a traitor here. Give me your thoughts if you have any.